boy! Guess who's in the house? It's Winston Marshall!
Hey.
What is that?
Oh, what is this? There you go. Just.
That's like a cooler Macarena.
I'm gonna give you an example.
Oh, man!
I guess you could call it a cooler Macarena.
Oh, I try to be professional and stuff, and then I do things like that. I just
Oh.
forget to. Here's the thing: they always are making fun of me because I always have crooked framing, which I can tell is crooked already. I forget to mute things. All the other people like are fancy schmancy, and they bought their mics, and they have their like dope sound equipment. Here's my sample ballot.
I mean, that's
out.
fine.
Like,
it's okay. Then if they want to know, then they know what to.
They want to know. They know when to what.
If you don't know now, you know. That's
what I'm saying. If you don't know, now you know. We have a lot to talk about today, including it being Super Tuesday right now, which means that you need to vote.
Where are all the states? California,
today,
Texas. You do have to vote today.
Of the days that you have to vote, today is the day. I will explain why I'm saying it like that shortly. That's how people from Boston say shortly.
Yeah.
Shortly.
Shortly?
Yeah, we'll explain it shortly.
Why? You were maybe the only person from Boston that I like.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But also rude.
I mean,
why?
Look, part of it is because I've been called the N-word 5 times in my life. One of the 5 was when I was visiting Harvard, like when I was a kid, like about to apply to colleges and shit. We were doing a tour, and they were like, "What?" Like, I'm not gonna repeat it because I don't know if that's what you do on your show, but like essentially it was like,
You
"What
can
do you?"
say whatever you want to say on this show, but I think we all know what you're.
More or less, it was like it was essentially like, "Hey, nigga, you're never gonna get in there." I don't really do a Boston accent very well, but
What was the last word?
You're never gonna get in there.
In there.
In there.
In
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
You're never gonna get in there.
In there. Yeah.
In there.
I don't do Boston very well at all. It left a bad taste in my mouth because I just remember that at 17 and being like, ugh.
I can respond to that in a couple of different ways. Number one, you are not the first person to tell me that Boston has treated them in a racist manner, which like, when you love your home so much, that like kills me. Because obviously the majority of human beings are not that in Boston. And we are from such a liberal state, but based off of our history, it does have a racist stigma around it, which is something I was unaware of until I moved to California because I grew up like just not racist. So, with a bunch of people who are also not racist, and then came out to California and everybody was like, "You're from Boston? Oh, that's a racist city." And I was like, wait, what?
It's one of those things that a lot of your athletes have spoken on after the fact, being like, "Yo, like this is something I would like." God, the big 3 were talking about that, about how fucking ridiculous it was. Like, we're out here winning you a title and getting you to a second one, and this is how we're getting talked to. But to that point, it happens everywhere. Like, I'm from Dallas. Dallas is a very liberal city, but it's still in Texas. So I haven't been called the N-word there, but a cop did harass the shit out of me when I was 16 and call me boy and all sorts of shit. Like, that was its own ugliness. So, like, it happens everywhere. But it's just, I just have, considering that's one of the few memories I have of that city, that and you have been one of the chiller Boston sports fans. Boston sports fans in general are intense as fuck.
So that's the other, like, as I even said it out loud, what I realized is, like, how the fuck would I even know if it is a racist city? Like, I unless I had witnessed something. Obviously I'm white, so I wouldn't have the same experience, and I wouldn't be able to identify that as well. But yeah, Boston sports fans are tough, and I've talked about this before on the stream, but I'll never forget one time when I was at Boston Garden and we were playing the Lakers, and it was like these Boston bros walking by, these 2 girls, like young women, maybe 20s, in their Lakers outfits, and they're just like so excited to be there and walking, and these Boston guys just and spit on them, and I was like, that's really embarrassing for us. That's like, you're a grown ass man, and you just like spit on these women walking by who weren't doing anything other than wearing Lakers colors. Like, that's really, really
that's
embarrassing.
the shit that I never understood. Is like, as a sports fan, I never understood like, if you want to get in an argument with somebody because you're like, no, like, fuck you, like, Lakers over Celtics, like, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But to get into physical altercations, to like cuss somebody out, like, that's not Boston exclusive. There are people that are a problem regardless. I mean, what, the Dodger fan that stabbed that Giants fan years ago, and there's Lord knows how many altercations between the Raiders and the Niners. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me for people to act like that.
I agree, and that is disgusting. You are right, it is everywhere. But like I have always said this, and I got this from Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro, who always used to say to me, they are the best of the best and the worst of the worst. Bostonians are some of the best people on the planet and some of the worst people on the planet, and I definitely see both sides of that because I do think that there is a quality about it that makes people like very loyal and real, and like you're never gonna wonder what a Bostonian thinks about you.
That's fair.
Which I think is nice.
Yeah.
However, often what they think is not pleasant, so it's like kind of a double-edged sword.
Oh, I get that.
I don't even remember why we were talking about Boston. Just because I exist as a human.
We were talking about voting.
Massachusetts, you should vote today.
Yeah, they're also because that's Warren State.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I love her.
Did you go to the rally yesterday? I didn't see you there.
No, you were there?
I was there. I ran into Emma Fife.
I'm so upset. I was not there. I was supposed to be on a shoot, and then the shoot got canceled anyway.
That sucks.
Yeah, but somebody said they grabbed me a T-shirt because I love
her. I have an extra sign. You want to sign?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I got you.
I met Elizabeth Warren when I was 15, I think.
Cool.
And then I like just started loving her, like just becoming. So I've been waiting a long time for this moment.
She won me over. She won me over this election. I was not peeping for her. The only thing that I really knew about her was the whole like Native American heritage thing and everything.
That was not one of her finer moments.
No. But that's literally all I knew about her.
A lot of people still to this day, that's all they know about her. Anytime I bring up her name, they say like, oh, why doesn't she go pretend to be Native American again? And I'm like, oh no.
Well, I think the thing that's wild to me is the fact that people that consider themselves like more progressive, like Trump decided to label her Pocahontas and shit like that, and that's like mad derogatory, and people just throw it around like it's nothing, and I'm like, what? Like, really? She won me over. I've been this whole election cycle, which I'm sure has been for a lot of people, has been very intense. And
that's
draining,
one word,
and draining and just like, and I don't like the fact that like she hasn't bowed out, nothing like that, and people have been trying to write her off. So I was very proud to like cast my vote for her because it's not over till it's actually over.
Yeah, I will say for her, I do believe it is over, although she will still be getting my vote as well. I don't really understand how our country got to this point where the two Democratic number 1 and 2 right now are Sanders and Biden. I'm confused on how that happened. I think that Buttigieg pulled out of the race too early. He obviously was getting some kind of polls or signs, but like, I don't really understand why our Democratic candidates going to fight against Trump are 77 and 78 years old. And like, again, I don't dislike either of them. I'm just like, it's just such a strange planet that we live on where I just don't think that either of them are, when you think about if you were trying to get somebody to beat Trump, do you think either of them are like the picture of that? Like, oh, this person's ready for the fight.
No, and this is the thing that's interesting to me because there's a lot of things that they talk about why the election went the way that it did in 2016, and I think a lot of it is that you look at Barack, for example, in 2008 and 2012, and he rallied so many young people that were like, I'm fucking excited to do this shit. Like, this dude is cool. This dude is smart. Like, he inspired people. And I feel like one of the things that kind of happened with Hillary, especially because she's been in the game forever, and the back half of her campaign really felt more like a victory lap than it felt like an election, or like that she was running a campaign. So I think that she wasn't inspiring people to do it. If anything, most of the anti-Trump votes a lot of the time were, well, not him. And I think what's kind of happened in this case that's interesting is like we're still having a sort of similar situation where people are more like, I just don't want Trump again. And so there's not as much inspiration, so that makes me nervous. The only ones that I really see are Bernie, in the sense that the revolution that he kind of started was like a strong one for sure.
Feel the burn. I mean, that is a real legitimate thing. And the people, and I talked about this in my stream yesterday, and it is a vast generalization, but many of the people who are voting for him are not voting for him or whoever is the Democratic candidate. They are voting for him or no one.
Yeah, and that scares me because
that's scary as hell.
And then I think with Biden, all that is like I think the other thing, and this is why Buttigieg and Klobuchar both dropped when they did, you cannot, as a Democratic candidate, honestly do well enough to win if you do not have the minority vote, but specifically the black vote. Obviously, that's not the end-all, be-all, but that is such a major part of that base. And since the two of them have pulled terribly with black people, like they got nobody in South Carolina. And Klobuchar, they saw the writing on the wall, and I'm sure somebody at the DNC was like, look, real talk, save face now while you can. And that's the one thing that worries me about Warren. At the rally, I would look around and I noticed that, like, I could count in the amount of black people that I visibly saw there. So that makes me nervous.
Are Biden and Bernie pulling well in the black community?
So Bernie does really well, partially for all of his ideas that he has, but like with spokespeople like Killer Mike and Public Enemy, and like all sorts that have been very loudly being like, yes, Bernie is the man that's going to help like black people forward. He has a very solid black base. And then Biden, you're writing Obama at that point, honestly. Because if you look at a lot of the stuff that Biden has done over the years with his voting record and whatnot, it's not great. But because he's with Obama, like my mom, for example, was like, well, Uncle Joe, like, you know, he'll be fine. Like, la la la. I'm like, but he just called us the blacks. That's not, like, come on, man.
What do you think about Biden? And by the way, we're talking politics on the stream today. Welcome to Live with Roxy with Winston Marshall in the house. We just went right into it. I will be talking to you guys in the chat. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. Don't forget to thumbs up the video. Ask whatever questions you have for Winston in the chat as well. But continue.
Yeah.
What do you think about Joe Biden?
It's funny because it was another one of those things that, like, for me, I didn't really pay attention to his record when he was in office with Barack. If anything, it was the same thing. It was like, oh, Uncle Joe, you're so silly, like, whatever. It's once he got out and, like, watching his little guffaws that he keeps having and having these women be like, XYZ made me uncomfortable because he's, like, rubbing my shoulders and doing whatever else and, like...
Kissing my forehead.
Yeah, it's stuff like that I was starting to see the writing on the wall on top of the fact he's getting older that I'm like, oh, this isn't great. Like, this is...
Yeah.
So, I will vote for either one of them if they end up getting the nomination. I don't dislike them enough that I'm like, nah. Like, the only one that I genuinely do not know what I would do is Bloomberg.
It looks like you're not going to have to suffer that problem.
I hope so.
But, yeah.
I fucking hope so, man.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel similarly. I think that I just don't know what Bernie will actually be able to accomplish of the things he's saying he wants to do.
Yeah.
And so that's my frustration there. Biden, I have similar issues with you, although I do think that, like, he does have a good heart. He has experienced a lot of loss. I think empathy is a really good characteristic in a president. It is that trait that keeps us from going to wars unnecessarily. So I know that seems like a big leap, but it's not actually that big of a jump when you're a person who feels and a person who really tries to, like, take other people's opinions into consideration, and I think that is something that a president should do, and he has been able to do that in the past.
Yeah.
But there have been strange things like what you were just referring to.
I think back to example like the crime bill. I mean, he was a big advocate in that. I think back to his like the whole Clarence Thomas and God, what's her name? I kind of remember her name. That was.
You guys will tell us in the chat.
Someone will say something in the chat.
Yeah.
My brain is fried right now. But he treated her so fucking terribly.
Yeah.
Anita Hill, thank you. Anita Hill, thank you very much.
There we go. I was like, it was trying to come out.
Yeah. So, like, there are things that Bernie and Biden have done that have been good, but there are some, like, I think the biggest measure of somebody is not necessarily, like, the good things you did or the bad things you did. It's how good and how bad were they, and how did you respond in kind? You know what I mean? The way he treated Anita Hill never left my brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like with Bernie, I think for me that's the huge turnoff. I do not have a problem with anybody being very strong for their candidate. I think that you should be. You should be inspired by them. You should want to be out there like doing everything you can. I think not every Bernie supporter is a Bernie bro. I think it's kind of squares, rectangles, where like they're all Bernie supporters, but those Bernie bros very much do exist, and what I have seen from them is, like, for example, I just happen to say on Twitter, I support Warren. That's who I'm going to vote for. And I've had a homie literally every single day, if he found something negative on Warren, he would just post it and just be like, hey, Winston, what's up?
I know.
And I'm like, I haven't said a single bad thing about Bernie. I don't need you to do, like, you are literally that thing that you keep, that Bernie and all of his real supporters keep saying, this doesn't exist, you're making it up. Fuck you. Here's proof where somebody that claims to be on your side is doing that. So for the Bernie supporters and for Bernie himself not to straight up be like, fuck that.
Yeah, I wish that he would come out. I wish that Bernie would come out and do a couple of things. I wish he would come out and say, regardless of if I win, vote Dem. Because he did not do that with Hillary. And I feel like that
it took a long
have
time.
Lost her the election.
He did, but it was too late.
Eventually, but he did not do it in the way that, like, immediately when you lose, I get it, you're sour. But what needs to come right after that, as somebody is campaigning, is, guys, if you were there for me, if you were voting for me, then this is the person that's closest in line.
Yeah.
And it took far too long. People had already made up their minds, and it was a big issue. And then I also wish he would come out and say to those of you guys out there, the Bernie bros, he doesn't need to call them that, but like, be cool. Be a real human being and talk to people like people.
Well, yeah, and you know what's funny? What I equate it to a lot of the time is that, you know, they say with any sort of cause, and you don't have to go full social justice with it, but with any type of cause, like for example, what a white person can do for a black person that's in trouble is if you hear like your uncle saying something hella racist about black people, you call them out.
Right.
Period. So, you know, if I hear somebody saying something horrible about women, I call them out. Period. So it's the same thing, is that you could, if a Bernie supporter sees like a Bernie bro calling someone, stop that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like police people that are supposedly in your camp. I get it. I mean, I will say this. I do think that the writing is on the wall for all the nominees, that they all are very aware that they have to surge. Whoever gets this nomination, they really have to come together and make it happen. I just hope that in the hubris that was 22 fucking candidates over the course of however long this shit was, that this really does happen, that we can like come together and do something, because oh boy.
Yeah. There's 2 people in the chat right now talking about Bernie showed up at more Hillary rallies than Hillary did for Obama by a lot. AJ, thank you for pointing that out.
Sure.
Then I'm not sitting here standing up for Hillary for doing that.
Mm-hmm. I'm not either.
That's not right. And you guys are right that he did show up towards the end. He did. But I just think too little too late. And if it had been a message throughout, then I think that we would have been much better off.
I think so too. And I also think the other thing about it, though, it's not to say that it would have been bad to have Hillary really come to Obama's side in 2008. Honestly, the biggest thing
that
might
have helped him.
It wouldn't have done anything. Yeah. Because I think at that point, not only by how handedly he beat her when it was all said and done, but it was, if I remember correctly, again, someone will probably say it in the chat, but the pastor that was associated with Barack, that like everybody was like, oh, he's super radical, he's super racist.
Oh my God! Well, every time you say something, it's there.
It's like right there.
What the hell is his name?
Somebody will put it up. Was it Farrakhan? I don't think it was Farrakhan. No. It wasn't Farrakhan. It was his own like actual pastor that he and his family used to go to church with.
It was like a huge issue.
Mm-hmm. And he gave that incredible fucking speech. Jeremiah White. There it is. Pastor Jeremiah White. He gave that incredible speech, essentially, of like. Right. Mm-hmm. Do I agree with the shit that he said? No, I don't. But at the same time, that's my family. I'm not going to condemn them and stuff like that. Family in the sense that that's his pastor, or a pastor that he associated with at some point. And I think that was that moment where he was dealt with some real thing that could have fucked up his thing, and he handled it with such grace. And was like, at that point, people that were fucking with Obama were fucking anybody that had that would be like, yo, okay. I knew some like real niggas that were like straight up like, yo, Rock ain't black enough, I ain't fucking with him. And he's like, hey man, he didn't sell his boy out. But like, he also didn't like say, yo, you good. Like, I fucks with him though. Like, that's a real one. That's a real one. Point. You know? Yeah. And I think that's the thing. I don't think Hillary would have necessarily shifted that for him. So I don't, you know, I get the comparison. I don't know if I would associate the two, but I get it.
Going over to the chat for a second, guys. First of all, you guys are being great in here. I know political discussions do get heated, as some people have said. This is too heated. I've got to bounce. This is about the most tame political discussion I ever believed to have taken place on the planet. Thank you to the amazing moderators, Paul Nuzio, Jake Yakavetta, for holding the fort down, making sure people don't step out of line in here. Shout out to Preston Bryant, who says in the super chat, I appreciate you guys just talking about your perspective.
Right.
Yeah, that's honestly, and I still have to tell them what I did.
Oh, yeah, I should too.
You guys are not going to believe it. I'll tell you in a minute. I will tell you in a minute, but I do want to check out the Streamlabs for a second, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. Shout out to Lloyd Nance. Just dropping some money in there, not even saying anything like a true sniper. Thanks, Lloyd. You rock. Selma Ishak says, hey, Roxy and Winston, are you guys still catching up with the Arrowverse? Well, maybe we should call it the Flashverse now. You two are my favorite duo on SEN. Always count the days till Tuesday. We need a Roxy, Kate, and Winston show.
Oof, we just got Kate because of her kids. I know she can only do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we'd have to find a day that she could do a Tuesday.
All right, we'll look into it. Are you still watching the Arrowverse/Flashverse shows?
I love the shows. I have made the decision I'm going because there's no way for me to play catch up, and that's the one thing that sucks. I have to wait until the seasons are over and they're all available because I just got behind by too much. And then when I finally had time to catch up, you know that they only allow like the last 5. They just dropped off, so I just have to
that's on the website. I know. I feel you. That's freaking annoying.
Unless you got the hookup DC movie news.
I'm trying to think. I've got the DC app, but not the. I don't know how to do the CW one.
Well, and that's the same thing. So I have the DC app, but it's not on there. I don't think.
I don't think so either. They should do that.
I don't know why they don't. Honestly, it's part of the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole HBO Max DC universe.
They're combining, right?
CW. Yeah. No.
Well, I thought DC Universe and HBO Max are combining. They're not?
They have not announced that.
Okay, wow.
They have said that they are going to air, like, their specific shows. So Stargirl, they said they're going to drop on DC.
Okay.
Then it's going to air on CW the next day. And then it's going to be available on HBO Max.
Okay.
I don't even understand, but whatever. Do what you want. I love them. You guys know that. Glenn Caesar in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. Hey, Roxy and Winston, happy Tuesday. 1 of 2. First off, you both were great on SEN Live today. Very funny stuff. It's awesome to see you together doing this. I'd love to see you both collaborate on a bunch more stuff. You've got a really great chemistry. Winston, you've been talking to me about some more stuff.
I have, and as a matter of fact, I don't want to give away the premise of the sketch, but there's one that I wrote, and I was trying to figure out who. I actually think you would be perfect for being the lead of the sketch.
Love that.
The only hint I will give is it has something to do with my favorite game show. So anybody on here that follows me knows what that is, and I think you would be absolutely hilarious for it.
Dang, I'm excited. All right, thanks, Glenn. You're the most generous person on the planet. We love you. Ben Rayner in the Streamlab says, hey guys, love you guys on SEN today. Roxy on Legend of Tomorrow. What happened first if you had to guess? Ray and Nora leave or Zari and crew get memories back about her? I'm guessing around the same time. What you guys think, Winston? You watch Legends, right?
I do, but it's the same issue. Since I'm behind, I just haven't.
He asked.
Oh.
Winston, you watch Legends, right? I know you just
I do. Yeah, I do.
I don't know timing wise. Honestly, I watch the show, but like, I can't fully say that I understand it all at this point. Like, they do weird shit where they have perfume bottles be love potions and like people die and come back. So like, I love it because it's fun, but I don't know timing wise. It's not like a show that I'm sitting there predicting all the time. But thanks for the question, appreciate it. Glenn Caesar, his second part says, Roxy, I can see your point with "It's me, Daddy."
No, God damn it, no.
The voice sounds like a woman to me. Super funny discussion to listen to. Still love you though, Roxy. Winston, your MTS group post with Lil Duval's Smile song. Lil Duval's Smile song was hilarious. Hashtag Rockstar's band, hashtag Just Direct. What is Lil Duval's Smile song?
I'm living my best life. Ain't going back and forth with you. I'm living my best life. You never heard that? You never heard that? Okay, so I'm gonna have to show you the song when the stream is over because it's an amazing song. The whole song is literally. This year? No, this song came out like 2 or 3 years ago.
Maybe I know it.
But I probably. It's Snoop's on it and Lil Duval and.
That sounded good.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Living my best life.
Ain't going back and forth with you. I'm living my best life. Ain't going back and forth with you. Yeah, exactly. So no, essentially all I did is I took the song because it was when Roca was going on and on about how the Fifth Stock Exchange was not falling apart, and so the whole time.
I mean, that whole thing was like mind-boggling.
That shit was hilarious because what I'm realizing, and they said it right. There's like I don't think that Dan necessarily does, and I don't really feel like Mark does, but Dagnino and Roca definitely have egos, and Ben does, but it's not the same as those two.
Yeah, Roca thinks that Ben has a bigger ego than he does, and
No.
maybe I'm blinded, but like...
No, but that's the thing, though. He does and he doesn't. He does in the
It's
sense
not
that he's a
that
competitor,
thing. Yeah.
but he doesn't in the sense that, like, I still think that the way Dagnino handled the draft with the four of them was wrong, but I also think that Roca to get upset about being in the fourth makes no sense. You literally were all statistically one of the four in whatever order, and if you take one team, you have to take it. It made sense. It's just how he said it.
How could you not said
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. So I think that like that whole thing was funny to me because then for it to happen again, and this time about like, well, we don't know what we're gonna do for the management. I actively made the decision because I realized I was grinning to just stare at the camera for like a good 2 minutes straight, just smiling and just being like. That's all I did for the whole time.
I have to watch it. How did I miss this? Why didn't you guys tag me? Come on, do your job.
So then I took that clip and I cut out because there were times where I was like throwing my eyebrows and stuff like that. So I made a music video essentially of me laughing and smiling into the camera to that song about living my best life.
Hello. I want to see it. I would play it now, but I get some kind of copyright issue. Preston Bryant in the super chat. CW Seed is trash. Too many commercials. Also, these shows do not need 22 episode seasons. They would be way more accessible if they had like 10, 12 episode seasons.
Well, I thought a lot of CW Seed stuff anyway was old shows that they just
Yeah, it is. I think that also CW Seed is confused. Like CWTV.com is where you play all the CW stuff, but I think people call it CW Seed because it's their streaming thing, but it's not actually. But you could be talking about where they have their Vixen show or their old streams.
Sure.
As far as the 10 to 12 episode things, I think that probably Winston and I have a unique opinion on this, considering we are actors working in this industry, rooting for other actors working in this industry, and all people in the industry, and just want them to work. So 22 episodes means more work, and 10 episodes means less work. So
especially because I would make the argument most of the people on CW shows, that is the beginning of them. Well, that's also the beginning for a lot of them to actually then become a thing.
Yes.
I feel like more of those CW shows, you have a higher chance of somebody that's like a no-name type scenario that becomes not necessarily a household, but at least an industry household name, if that makes sense. So like Stephen Amell, Arrow really launched his career, and now he's starting to appear in like other movies and stuff. And I know he's got another show coming up soon, I think, and stuff like that.
He was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
He was, but that was post Arrow. That was like after season 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And it's the same thing. I mean, like my sister is a writer on Charmed, and like same thing for those actresses. Like they all, like one of them, I want to say the one that plays the youngest sister was like on Disney before, but the other two, this was like their big breakout, like series regular launching moment. So like, I'm all supportive of like go get your 22, like shit. Especially because that's good as fucking money.
Yeah, as a fan, I get like sometimes these storylines drag a little bit, but still rooting for them. Sam Fisher in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. If you ever watch Outlander, just binged it this week and I loved it. If you haven't seen it, put it on your list. I hear this from so many people.
Everybody says it's good. I haven't seen it yet.
I've missed it.
I've watched too much, which I meant to ask you that because I know you watch Bachelor now. Did you watch both The Circle and Love is Blind?
No. Brett texted me, Sheridan texted me the other day and was like, yo, I just watched The Circle for the first time. This show is you. You need to watch it. I've never seen it, but I said to him back, I think Winston has a friend on the show. Did you say something to me about that?
No, I just watched the fuck out of The Circle.
Okay. I was like, I remember talking something about it.
Oh, The Circle and Love is Blind are both trash TV. The Circle's way better. They're both trash TV, but I fucking love them.
All right, well, I guess maybe we'll give Outlander a try, but not until after we watch Circle and Love is Blind. Paul Denuzio in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. What I really wish for is that either Bernie or Elizabeth to check on Patty Boy and Daddy. Oh, it's me, Daddy.
No. No. Patty boy. It's me. Daddy. I don't even remember what it is. Daddy has an issue.
Yep. Patty boy's me daddy.
No. Daddy's dying. Whatever it is, Daddy.
Salmal Shack in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. Fingers crossed so hard for America to vote blue this election. I deep down am scared it won't happen, but I am still hopeful. Britain tried to get its socialist guy in, but people didn't believe he could deliver on all his promises. Can I tell you something? I do not understand British politics.
Yeah, I don't. Well, did you see Darkest Hour?
Yes, I loved
Darkest Hour. I also did not realize that essentially their parliament is just a shit show.
Like
I didn't know that.
And like I don't know how it is today. I don't understand. Because like there's the royal aspect, but that's a name.
Right.
And then there's the government.
Right.
And then there was like everything that happened with Brexit.
Yeah.
And then I know I sound like the dumbest American that ever existed, but it's hard enough for me to keep up with American politics, which apparently I'm not doing the best job at. Again,
Are you gonna tell your
I will
story?
tell you guys soon. But like I don't know how. I try to follow along. I have one of my closest friends, Dom Burns, who you guys know wrote the movie that I was in, Madness of the Method. He is in England and from there and British, and I like every time I'm like, wait, so what's happening? Like I clearly don't understand at all.
You know what's funny to me about the whole situation, and I didn't realize this. So I know that it's the United Kingdom. I thought that it was incorporating Scotland and Ireland and all the other right. The only country that actually left the EU was just Great Britain. The rest of them are still in the EU.
Yeah.
So it's just England.
Yeah.
That's just wild to me.
That's why Brexit.
No, I understand, but I thought Brexit. No, that's right. But I still thought as far as the United Kingdom that they all
were a collective.
Were
they were a united kingdom.
And that was collectively leaving the union. Like I thought that's what it was. So to hear that, because apparently now Ireland is the closest port of that area to the EU. I'm like, that's
I don't know.
So much going on.
I really don't get it. J-Dog in the super chat. That ridiculous election in 2016 didn't divide us. The 2000 election was 17 when hanging chads in Florida and busted voting machines. Woof.
I don't disagree. That was the beginning. I mean,
but what is he saying? The ridiculous election in 2016 didn't divide us. The 2000 election was
saying that the 2000. And I think that like you can't get everything from just movies, but I think that that's one of the things that they did a really good job of discussing in the movie Vice was the fact that like it was the beginning of it, because that's when the arguments got heated, and that was the beginning of like the more that the Bush administration would do things, the more other people would get super radically pissed off on the other side. And then when you end up with the swing of going over to Obama, then all of a sudden you end up with the Tea Partiers during his 8 years, and you just get that back and forth pendulum. So I don't disagree with that. I just think that this was the worst it's been, though, was the 2016 election. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like there is also that it's the worst it's been every election. Like I feel like
it's
we
just
feel
getting
progressively worse. Eric Stevenson, shout out to Roxy and Winston for having political conversations on YouTube, and to the mods and chat for keeping things constructive. What's this? Word.
I mean, this was wrong.
Yeah.
I meant to do this. This is Nuck of You Buck. I should not have done that, because that means it's like, that's if you ever hear crime mob ho and see a bunch of black people, you should probably just walk away.
What is it? Crime
mob. Crime mob and then ho.
Crime mob ho.
Yeah, that's the beginning of Butt Nuck If You Buck. Like the very beginning is crime mob, and you'll really see a bunch of black people and like just. Which, whoever the fuck, I don't know if you're in here, but whoever the fuck said you think Roka is blacker than me and RB3 out your goddamn mind.
You think that person is in here?
Maybe.
I highly doubt it.
Maybe.
Thank you.
I don't fucking know.
NFL Caleb 22, shout out to you in the super chat. Shout out to Preston Bryant, who says, "Well, Roxy, you don't live there. It's definitely okay not to know everything. Not to everything. Knowing everything would be boring." I feel like I know. I mean, what percentage of things on the planet do you think you know?
Oh, please. I mean,
I
all
like
of us
I
know probably only maybe 1%.
I think I know less than that. I think I know like 0.0000001% of anything.
Probably.
Think about like all the science shit.
Because if you think about it, just languages alone, like that by itself automatically makes you like, you're right, probably less than 1%.
I don't know, and like imagine if you had to do surgery.
No.
Grab the cardiovascular longevity of the.
Grab the You damn sure don't know shit about no biology. Grab the cardiovascular whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
But yes,
like that would be so hard. It'd be like the micro lesion of the flittish.
I think the
underneath the testosterone eyelid.
I think the only thing that any well-educated person should really know is like you should at least know
when election days.
Tell your story. You keep alluding to it. Just tell your story, Rox. No, it's fine. I will. My thought is there. You should tell your story.
Here's what happened. Here is the honest to God truth. And this is the thing. Like, I tell you guys everything because I don't think it's legitimate to just tell you guys things that make me look good. So I definitely throw in shit that makes me look awful. So I all week, go vote, everybody go vote. Talking to all my friends, I'm bitching people out, you're not planning on voting, all this stuff. So today, last night, I'm looking at my official sample ballot, right? So they get one of these in the mail. Also, I think it's kind of crap that then also on the official sample ballot, then I also got my legitimate ballot that was sent to me in the mail. And they send me an I voted sticker, which I think is kind of crap.
Why?
Because I didn't vote.
Yeah, because this is your ballot.
I know, but I'm saying I could wear that without having voted.
I mean, technically, yes, but how else are you going to get your sticker?
When I drop it off.
Oh, well, they will also ask you if you need another sticker when you're there.
I know, but I don't like that. Don't give stickers to people who didn't vote.
But you may not go drop it off. Some people just put it in the mail.
Yeah, that's true. I just don't like that somebody could wear a sticker having not voted.
You mean the sticker that really means nothing, but we decided it became a thing and we put it on fucking Instagram because we're pathetic?
And stuff. I just feel like people will do that. So anyway, though. So I'm looking at this last night and I see that it's a nonpartisan NPP ballot. And I was like, why? I'm a proud Democrat. And I guess I fucked up because when I switched from Massachusetts to California a year ago, I must have checked the wrong box. I must have checked independent or nonpartisan because otherwise I wouldn't have gotten this. So
let me see it.
As nonpartisan, I can vote in the Democratic primary, but I have to request it. Is what it says in here. I turned to page NM.
Yeah, because you have no page 4.
I know. It's not there. So I was like, that's a bummer. So I can't just fill it out and drop it off. So I'm on the phone with Winston, and he's coming over for the stream. And he's like, I think I'm going to drop mine off before I come there. And I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to drop mine off after the stream tonight because it's going to be really busy there tomorrow. And, maybe I'll try to go tomorrow instead. And he was like, tomorrow. It's a good thing that you're going to try to go today because there is no tomorrow. And I was like, no, Winston, let me just explain this to you, Winston, because clearly you don't get it. Today is Super Tuesday, and in California, we are allowed to vote tomorrow because Super Tuesday is only for some states, and it's not a California thing. California has one of the last election days for the primary. And he was like, trying to be the nicest he could, he was like, listen, I believe what you're saying if you believe what you're saying. However, every document says otherwise. I mean, I'm looking at the paperwork, Roxy, and I was like, yeah, and he was like, it says it's on the 3rd. I'm like, yeah, the 3rd, tomorrow. And then I go, like, I just don't know how I even, managed to do that. Or, I had just convinced myself that tomorrow was my last, I don't know. I know today's Tuesday. I know it's Super Tuesday. I know I'm telling everybody to go vote today, but I am so arrogant that I get to vote tomorrow. Imagine me showing up to the polls tomorrow.
Being like, showing up, being like, where the fuck are all
where
of the people? Where
tweeting
are the people?
Out. I went to my polling station.
What if you had fucking tweeted that? Holy shit, I just saved you some really piss. Oh shit. Oh God. Oh Jesus, that was.
I don't even fucking know how I did that. I'm looking at this as I'm on the phone with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, March 3rd, Winston.
Man.
Maybe because it was a leap year?
Maybe it just threw you off. That's what did it.
I just think I'm thrown these days. I don't know, but I have to go vote today, obviously, because today's the day to vote. And I don't know. I'm looking into some of these things, and I'm like, I just don't know. And you're telling me that I don't have to vote in every part of it if I don't know for sure, because like sometimes I'm looking at some of them and I'm like, okay, I feel strongly about this person, I feel strongly about this person, but like calling a spade, there is one main reason I'm trying to vote today, right?
Yeah.
And this is the only ballot in which I cannot do that main reason.
Well, that sucks. That sucks. But that's why you take that with you, so you know what you're gonna do when you get there, because I'll give you the other one. And I mean, it was the same thing where I was like, I don't necessarily have a lot of time today to do the full-blown research on every single judge.
Right.
And so the ones that I was aware of, and like the races and the propositions that I was aware of, and that I have already had like done my research and made formed strong opinions, I voted for those. And then I left the rest, I abstained from the rest, because instead of I'm just going to randomly mark something, I was like, let me just mark what's important and then call it a day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree with that method. I feel like, imagine running, and imagine being the right candidate for somebody, but them not writing down your name because they didn't know. I always feel like I need to at least like Google it.
Yeah.
The LA Times does a pretty good job of explaining why they endorsed which candidates they endorsed.
You know what's funny though is that the LA Times still has that stupid fucking paywall, so you can only have a couple of free reviews.
I know.
So I happened to go from one article to another, and they're like, "Sorry, you can't unless you sign up." And I was like, "You just fucked me from like being able to do research through y'all."
It sucks.
That should have been I feel like there's so many different. Another thing that pisses me off. Of similar, like, logically, let's act differently. Mm-hmm. That should be an example where, like, just based off the URL, since it's, like, within election, they just let everybody look at it for free.
100%.
In the same way that what makes no sense to me is when, like, Netflix and Amazon and all them still send you DVDs when it's award season, when it's like, motherfucker, you're Netflix.
Yeah.
What do you mean you can't code a specific, like voting section of your shit to just let people log in to watch it from this time to this time, and then it shuts down? Like, that would be so simple. You're wasting...
I'm completely with you. Let's go over to Streamlabs for a second. Streamlabs.com/RoxyStriar. And by the way, let me have it, because I deserve it. Samal Shak says, British politics queen, figurehead prime minister, president opposition leader, Nancy Pelosi, Brexit... Wait, hold on.
What?
Just one sentence.
British politics. Queen, figurehead. Prime minister, president. Opposition leader, Nancy Pelosi. Brexit happened because for big decisions, we hold a referendum and ask everyone in the country what they want. Stay in the European Union or out. So that was a problem. You were putting that together, that's like a break point. So then Queen is figurehead. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is, our president is essentially both figurehead and
But what does it have to do with Nancy Pelosi?
Nancy Pelosi is essentially their opposition leader, so Nancy Pelosi is the minority leader.
So who's their Nancy Pelosi?
Or I guess the majority leader. Their opposition leader.
No.
Yeah.
Who is it?
I don't know. I don't know names of...
Thank you for trying Salma Ishak to explain to me. I'm hopeless. Roxy will be my future wife. Do you post any Patreon exclusive content? Everything seems to be public on YouTube. I used to do more, and I will be doing more in the future, especially reviews. I was doing a lot more movie reviews for smaller movies there and some TV shows. And like now, $10 tier and up, I'm going to have when I'm having guests on. Anybody who's $10 tier and up, you guys can ask questions there. That's Mark Riley gave me that idea, and then I can bring them into the stream so you are the first people asking questions. And yeah, I want to be doing more. I have something coming out with Darina and Steph that I've been teasing you guys about that we're going to be posting a Patreon exclusive mini teaser to. So thank you for asking. And also, it's not a question, I guess. It's just Roxy will be my future wife. I was going to say yes, but you're not asking. You're just telling me. So Sure.
It's his prediction. It's his motivational goal in life.
Preston Bryan.
Learn British politics. That will probably be a good, helpful starting point.
I can't. Preston Bryan says, Roxy, it happens. You live a fast life. I think that's referring to me forgetting that. In the house right now, in the chat, Kevin Smets. Hell yeah, Smets. Thanks for being here. He says, two of the kindest people on my YouTube screen right now. From the second I entered the league to now, thank you. Love you both.
That's what's so funny about Smets, man, is that, like, talk about somebody that does an incredible job of, like, going from, like, Smets the Smasher to, like, Kevin Smets.
Yeah, he really does do a great job with his character versus the person, which I think has been a struggle for a lot of people in the league. But I will say that I think even for him, it was a learning curve of when to talk, when to not, like in terms of these are your friends, but how do you tell them what you're doing on stage, and you don't want to give away strategy, but you want to be helpful, and you want to be a good person. And I think he's just really done a great job. And now it's funny because I still think of him as a newbie, but he's a vet now at this point.
He is.
And I guess.
You know, the other thing that I hope that we find a way to do in the future, I think what kind of helps is there should almost be like before the season starts, like some sort of mixer to introduce the rookies to people.
I know, that sucks. I don't know them at all.
Well, because for example, like I think like, you know, you have a lot of situations where new people come in and they've been in the fan leagues or whatever else. And so they come in hot, just being like, man, y'all be fucking crushing under pressure, and I'm the shit, and blah, blah, blah. And then they get a bad rap with people because it's like, yo, who the fuck is you? You know what I'm saying?
I know who you're talking about. A couple of people.
There's a few.
Yeah, so, I know, and that's tough. That's really hard.
So I think that because it's funny, because I even remember when we came in new, like, Eric and I just showed up and played our match. We didn't really talk to anyone. Nobody was rude to us, but we didn't come in shit talking. We didn't really know what we were doing. So, like, I would love for us to figure something out, like a new player orientation or some shit. I think that would be cool to, like, give us a chance to.
And also, like, when I draft people, I don't know what it's going to be in the future, but I don't just draft based on skill. Like, I want people who want to be on my team. I want people who I feel like aren't going to flip the frick out. I want people who are, you know, like, I want to know people a little bit. And you can watch the fan leagues, but you don't know them the same way that if you've met somebody in person. But a lot of people come from out of state, too.
Yeah.
Which is hard. Like, even this Atlanta match with Alex Damon.
Because he lives down there, right?
Yeah, so he lives there, and, like, I'm so happy with him, and we've been communicating a lot. But since I drafted him, including the day that I drafted him, this is the first time I've been in person with him. So it's hard to build that kind of bond that I have with, like, the odd couple who, like, I see them all the time. And, you know, in a period of 5 minutes, it's like, okay, Damon, you have to trust me. And that's challenging, and he was great about it.
I get it, and I mean, it's funny because the people I was even thinking in mind of just, like, how they came in, ironically, I had met them previously from a lot of the Schmodown, like, podcasts and fan casts and all that kind of stuff. I had met them from doing, like, smaller interviews and stuff like that. Small's inappropriate. That's not what I meant. But, you know what I mean.
Not on Christian's main shows.
Sure. Yes. So, like, I had met multiple of the people that were coming from that. And good dudes, like great really people. Nice guys. It's just exactly that. It's that you also look at, you're like, yeah, you come in and you be a hard ass. Like, that's what you do. Like, so.
Wait, what did you teach me?
Nook, if you buck, why nook, if you buck, why. Jumping out from on the stage, throwing bones like Johnny Cage. Like, yeah.
That's so good. Johnny Cage, what? Throwing bones.
But yeah, I think that's something that, like, would definitely help.
How are you liking being your manager?
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I miss competing. It sucks because there's definitely those moments where I'm like, like, I mean, I know that I wouldn't, like. Here was the thing, at least when I was competing, wasn't putting in the kind of legwork that you see out of the Bens and the Rokas and the Kalinowskis and all that kind of stuff. So there was going to be a barrier for me to ever get to a really high competitive level. A lot of it has to do with the movies that I watched, in the sense that, like, hella comic book movies, like all of Pixar, all of Disney, but hella black movies, which is why the black movie trivia Schmodown for me was, like, a huge deal. I'm really glad we did it. I still think we need to put up a wheel slice. There's a way to do it because black cinema is technically a genre of movie in the same way that they have. If you can have a festival darlings, which includes comedies and dramas and all that kind of stuff, you can have a black movie trivia wheel slice. But anyway, I know.
I agree with that, by the way.
I know what I know, so like I was only gonna unless I really did some hardcore work on it. I wasn't necessarily always gonna, but I miss it. It is fun. It is fun to go up there and see what you can do and to beat people and winning is fun and all that kind of stuff. But I do like at the very least, I do like being like kind of a mentor or a coach to people. I do like being a mouthpiece because I run my mouth a lot. So like it is fun to be able to do that. And
what's your least favorite part?
My least favorite part is honestly just trying to figure out all the scheduling stuff.
That's my least favorite part too. The scheduling stuff is driving me fucking crazy.
Because what I feel shitty about is if I do not have time to handle it because life has been chaotic for me right now, I feel like a failure of a manager because it's like, I know the reason why Christian wanted to move this way other than it being interesting was because he could not handle dealing with whatever 90 to 100 competitors himself and trying to balance their schedules. So by doing this, he's essentially now delegated that. I know that has a decent amount of reason why he wanted to move this direction. So I get that. But that's the funny thing. If my life was turned upside down right now, trying to figure out 10 people's schedules to try and get them a match and to be the middleman for Christian could be very nerve-wracking. But
yeah, I agree. And then like it's also hard because I feel like I don't want. I said to Christian, please go through me for every interaction with the players because I don't want him going to them now because then there's things that I miss out. I don't know what's happening. But then it's a lot. So even though it's what I prefer, then I'm going back 500 times, especially with the teams matches. Trying to get two people on the same schedule, just like it's
well, and that was the weird thing. I had a particular pairing that I wanted to do that didn't work out because of scheduling.
I did too.
And then, so it kind of kept morphing. I'm actually very happy with what I've ultimately come up to now.
Same.
But it wasn't, my initial is a little different than what I wanted. So there's, that's the other thing that can be kind of weird. And I also understand that without going too in depth, but like some of the behind the scenes stuff of this, I know that had a lot to do with like love Bonnie to death, and I do think that she's like good. I know that her schedule being as chaotic as it is has been part of the reason why she's maybe bounced around in factions, just because she may or may not be able to do stuff,
Yeah, totally.
So, but it's fun. It's cool to be on this other side. It's interesting to think that I genuinely have a shot at, it depends on how everything shakes out because it's a long season, but like a shot to actually win an award because I was never gonna win Player of the Year or some shit like that. Maybe entrance, but like I was never gonna get some shit like that. So it's cool to think that like if I bust my ass, it's possible.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I like that as well. Going to the super chat, I blame Gravity 1. I'm voting in Tennessee. I have to choose between getting to voting for the Democratic primary or voting as Republican to choose our new judge and delegates because they will be uncontested in the general.
Oh fuck. Well,
so you must be registered as independent as well.
I would say, well, I guess they just have to make a choice because if he goes Republican, then he can't vote on the Democratic primary. But if he goes Democratic, he can't vote on the things that matter.
But you could only be in that position if you were independent.
Really?
Well, if you're registered Dem, you can't vote in the Republican primary.
No, I know, but I guess maybe it was one of those things that, I mean, I guess at this point, if you had to make that choice, they were probably already registered as independent. True. But let's say you were registering to vote, you would then that would be the thing you would run into trouble with.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I did what I did, which
it's possible.
I didn't even know that I did it, but apparently I did. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. This is coming from Salma Ishak, who says, on a delay, so maybe somebody corrected you, Winston, but the whole of the UK did leave the EU.
Really?
But majority of people that voted to leave were people from England and Wales. So us Scots in Northern Ireland feel like we were being dragged out. Oh, I thought that you were right, what you said.
Well, someone told me that's what happened. I'm glad to know that because I would rather know what the actual thing is.
This is how much I don't understand what's happening. So Salma, are you from there? You said so. Us Scots, so maybe you are, which means you definitely know better than us.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But being dragged sounds awful.
That sounds fucking terrible.
That sounds horrible.
I can't think of a single situation where being dragged is a good thing.
Okay, the prince that wasn't promised that all of Ireland isn't in the UK, Winston.
Okay.
Wait,
I didn't know that.
Wait, what?
So maybe Northern Ireland is a separate
part of Ireland is not.
We genuinely don't know this. This is not.
Know.
I mean, in the same way, I'm not gonna lie. There have been plenty of Europeans that just assume that like Texas is like all of this half of like the country over here. So like it happens. I honestly, and that's my bad, but I honestly didn't know that.
I still am confused.
I am too. I'm not gonna lie, because of everything that's going on. I'm gonna go do some research when this is all said and done. But
can somebody explain? So if part of Ireland is not in the UK, what's it in?
If what's it again?
If part of Ireland is not in the UK,
it's just that part of Ireland. So
okay. Prince of Wales Brothers says Northern Ireland and Ireland are separate. And then Dixon Cider says Northern Ireland is Irish Catholic, and Jenny Lawson says Northern Ireland.
Got it. So there's literally
it's its own country.
Exactly. It's its own country. Yeah.
Northern Ireland.
So maybe that's what someone was trying to tell me is that Northern Ireland is the closest EU port in that area.
Eric Stevenson says in the super chat, Northern Ireland equals UK. Republic of Ireland is not in the UK.
This is the opposite of what people have been saying. Oh, Christ.
Preston Bryant says, I watch John Oliver for stuff like this.
I mean, it's true, but where the fuck is John? Get John Oliver on your show. What are you doing?
Wait, so this is a religious thing? Southern Ireland is Protestant, says Dixon Cider.
I mean, even if that's the case, I'm assuming that what was going on with all of that is that there was a point where they decided, we're going to split this country up. But
NFL Caleb 22 said this one is just because Winston is a Cowboys fan.
Hey, just got you some money, Rox. Because of the best team in football.
What just happened? Glenn Caesar in the Streamlabs says, Roxy, I just tagged you on Winston's Smile.
Smile.
Oh, smile. Living my best life. Post to the MTS Facebook group. The look in Winston's eyes is what makes the clip LOL. All right. I'm excited to see it. Lord Printer says, hate to be that guy, but fuck it, I'm getting desperate. I uploaded my first movie-related video, the Oscars, but they're honest. Please someone watch. Love you all. But you didn't put a link, Lord Printer.
That's a great point, Lord Printer. I don't know how to watch your thing,
it doesn't sound desperate. I'm excited for you to say it, but I don't know where you find it. All right. Salma Ishak says, oh no, you already said the on delay thing. Sorry, that was the whole thing that started that. Weston Ira says, just showing some dinero for two of the best parts about SEN. Super sick and haven't slept, so props to you two for making my day better. Winston, Wakanda forever, and Rox, your glow is second to none. You're calling me pregnant? Do you ever use the word glow if it doesn't have to do with the TV show or somebody being pregnant?
Yeah. Really? But I won't lie in the sense that typically you're right. When said to a woman, it's that's implying you look like you're pregnant.
I am putting on some weight right now. Thanks for noticing, friends. I Blame Gravity One says, in Tennessee, you don't register with party till at the booth.
Ah.
We're learning so much stuff.
Thank you for educating us. Like hosting 101 is we're supposed to enlighten, educate, and entertain, and y'all are educating the fuck out of us.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it. You guys rock. Tongue punch fart box.
Oh yeah, they're on SEN Live. Yeah.
Absolutely love you, RJ. You're simply amazing. Winston, you demand. Roxy, can you say moist to piss off Winston? Thanks.
God damn it!
Hypothetical between the two of you. Choose one player from the other's team to have on your own. No Oyama, no Damon.
Okay.
Who are all your players?
That's the same thing. I gotta ask you who all your players are. Here, hold on. You haven't really changed since the draft, right?
Simply the best.
Because I know all of mine, but just
better than all the rest.
All right. Looking at yours, I would take.
Mine would have been Oyama. So.
But you can't.
They said no. Yeah, but
so you wouldn't take anybody else.
Damon for you. No, of course I would.
Meaning, I think they're saying no Damon in this sense.
Go back to you.
So I am here.
You know who I'm ridiculously impressed with as I've been Well, actually, a lot of these people are amazing, but I think that Liz Shannon Miller has potential to be like a phenom.
Yeah, that's why I took her.
I also really like Chandru. I
Yeah.
think that he could be awesome, but it wouldn't make sense to put him on my team because of what, because of who I have and what I'm trying to do. With
No, I understand. If I can't, then I probably take.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, guys, we're
Stacey Howard.
Stacey's awesome.
It's not that I don't like your top boys, because I do, but I think that they function so. But I also think that they function so well together. You can't break them up.
They're a bomb team.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, guys, we are getting out of here. So any last minute questions, comments, concerns, education that we clearly need on the UK. Still very, very confused on what this Northern Ireland situation is. A lot of people saying moist. You hate that word.
Dude, just pretend like they said something offensive and block it out the chat. Don't do that.
That's
to me.
how I feel about the word breath.
What the breath?
Breath.
See, what I'm really nervous about right now is that there are probably a bunch of fart box.
Yeah.
Like, apparently remember that. Everybody else may not have, and then any of the people they're probably gonna start bombarding me with that fucking schmobot.
All right, so let's get out of here. But Winston, tell everybody where can they see everything you're doing. Where you at?
Of course. The handle at the Swaggy Blurred, TheSwagggyBlerd. That's all socials: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
How long has that been your name?
Since
what
I signed.
was the originator?
Wow, it's bounced around. There was Mr. Winston A. Marshall. There was.
No, I mean, like, why did you? How did
pick the Swaggy Blurred?
Yeah.
I ended up.
Origins, I guess.
I ended up at the NBC Universal hosting workshop, and Marky taught it that year, and that's actually how I ended up signing with her, because she really liked me. But she, we had to really develop our brands, and I just was trying to think what kind of sets me. I was like, well, I'm a blurred, but like I'm into sports. I like fashion. Like, there's a bunch of other shit to it. And I was like, well, what about, like, the Swaggy Blurred? She's like, I love it. I don't know what it means, but I love it. And so, like, it just kind of stuck.
That's awesome.
But, yeah, you can follow me on all the socials there. I do a show with Jay Washington every week called Blurreds in the Hood. It normally drops on Wednesdays. He was at C2E2. So we will be doing a live stream.
What's C2E2?
It's Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo.
C2E2.
C2E2.
R2D2. C2E2.
Yeah. So please subscribe to our Blurreds in the Hood page on YouTube. But we will be doing a live stream from his channel, because you have to have 1,000 followers or 1,000 subscribers in order to live stream. So we will be doing it over there. We will eventually put the video on our regular page, but we will be over there. So please come join us tomorrow. Ask us questions. We're going to be talking a lot of shit, including Love is Blind and Bachelor.
Wait, we didn't even talk Bachelor.
Yeah, I know. You want to do a quick 30-second thing?
I don't understand these people. Who's gonna win this? Is it gonna be Madison ultimately, or no?
I think he's gonna go chase Madison, I think he's gonna end up alone. That I agree with. That rumor that I think he ends up with nobody, I think that's true, but I think it's Madison who he goes to chase.
At the Women Tell All thing, he looks depressed.
Yes. Because he's alone.
He does not look like a man who's in a relationship.
My girlfriend straight up was like, they need to call him, Hinge needs to call him about some SpawnCon, because he's probably by himself.
Yeah. Shout out to Soggy Mini Muffins. Thank you for the super chat. To everybody out there, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. You can do that anytime. It's my favorite part about Streamlabs. You don't have to be watching live. Don't forget to thumbs up this video. Go follow Winston and all the amazing things he does. Winston, thanks for coming on.
Of course.
Thank you guys for telling us all about the UK. We love you lots, and we'll see you next time. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. Thursday, I'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. But on Thursday, Ben Goddard will be joining me. So I'm kind of like, I want to find out who this kid is.
Goddard?
Yeah.
I thought you figured it out.
Yeah.
I thought you were like soft flirting with him for the last 2 months.
Really?
Yeah. When you were like, do you smile? Like, you were like, it seemed like it was.
Is that a flirty thing? You're not the first person to say that.
Soft flirting. I don't think you were like flirting with intent where you were like, I'm gonna try and get him, but it seemed like you were kind of like.
Really? Shit. I gotta work on that, because that's absolutely not what I'm doing. But I do like him, but he came on the scene really quick, and I don't know who he is at all.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah. I just don't know him.
Yeah. I mean, apparently his Twitch streams are pretty great.
That's what I hear from all the people. So get your questions in on that. The Patreon $10 stream. You guys can start asking questions for Goddard. All right. Bye. See you later. Rockstar Forever. See. That's how I clicked you.
Drip.
Rockstar Forever.